Hey, what's going on everyone? In this video, we're going to be taking a look at a very simple transition technique inside of Premiere Pro. Let's get into it. So this effect actually comes from an Anuel music video that I watched a couple months back, and this transition is easy to recreate. You know, it might not be the most visually appealing thing, but I think if you use it the right way, you can create some very cool effects with it, and you can also use it to help draw the attention of the viewer in a certain direction. You can get creative with it and do things like create fake movement inside your clip as well. Like I have this clip here where I just have this showdown with a pack of cigarettes on a table, and I flick the pack of cigarettes and it goes flying across the table. You know, you're really only limited to your creativity here. So let's go ahead and jump into Premiere Pro and see how this is actually done. So I have clips that I already recorded and edited. I imported them into my project panel and then I dragged them onto my timeline. I have them cut to the size that I want already. So I'm going to drag my header here to where I want this transition to start at. About right here is fine. So I'm going to take my second clip, I'm going to bring it to the video layer above and then just drag it to where my header starts. And I'm going to go about 10 frames forward. You can do this by using the left and right arrow keys on your keyboard. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. About right there is fine for now. I'm going to cut the clip right here, and now I'm going to take this remaining second part of the clip and I'm going to drag it back down just so we're not cramping up all these video layers right here. So with this little portion that we cut out, I'm going to make sure that it's selected. I'm going to go up to the effects controls and I'm going to drop down the opacity right here. I'm going to select the pen tool and I'm going to create a mask around the subject. Now this doesn't have to be that precise because it's going to be blurred out anyways. So now that we have our subject masked out on this clip, we can go ahead and start animating the keyframes for the position. So to do this, what you're going to want to do is right click and nest this clip. Okay, and then come up to your effects panel up at the top right. If you don't see this, just go up to window at the top and then make sure your effects is selected, and we're going to search for the transform effect. So go ahead and double click to apply or drag and drop it on your nested clip. Make sure your nested clip is selected, and under the effects controls go to transform, and we're going to create a keyframe for the position. So let's go ahead to the end of this clip right there. I'm going to add a keyframe for the position. I'm going to go back to the beginning of the clip when it comes on screen right there, and I'm just going to drag this on the y-axis just like that, just so it's out of frame here. So now you can see it animates down. And another thing we can do to make it easier on the eyes is we can add our own motion blur to this. You can do this by coming to the transform option in the effects controls, and right here where it says use composition shutter angle, let's go ahead and uncheck that and add our own shutter angle. Something to 180 should be fine. So let's go ahead and play this, and it looks a little bit better. And you can always shorten or lengthen how long you want it to animate on screen, you know, depending on how you want it to look. And let me just go ahead and do it a couple more times. So say if I want the transition to start right here, I'm going to drag my next clip right there. I'll bring it to the top real quick. Came 10 frames to the right. I'm going to go ahead and cut that. I'm going to drag this back down to the first video layer. Go ahead and extend this back out. So I'm going to have this top clip selected. I'm going to go to the opacity, select the pen tool, and do a quick mask around the television right here. Make sure that this clip is nested so that way we can add the transform effect to it. Go ahead and drag and drop it on there. Under the transform, I'm going to add a keyframe for the position. Going to come back to the very beginning here, and let's say I'll animate this coming from the right of the screen. So we have this coming on from the bottom and that coming from the right, and we can go ahead and add the motion blur for this as well. Uncheck this use composition shutter angle and add our own about 180. I'll do the Spartan clip one more time to animate it from the bottom. I'm gonna come a few frames forward, cut it, drag this down, select the pen tool under the opacity, and I'll create a rough mask around this just so you can see it doesn't have to be too precise. Something like that, it shouldn't matter too much. Gonna right click, nest this layer, okay, add transform. Under transform, I'm gonna come to the end here, create a keyframe for the position. I'm gonna go back to the first frame and I'm gonna drag it, oops, wrong way. I'm gonna drag it down this way and add a custom shutter angle to it. And let's see how this looks. Let me actually drag this out just a little bit more. yeah, there we have it. I mean, it's simple enough. Like I said, this is a very easy effect to recreate, and like a lot of effects that are really simple, you're really only limited by your creativity, you know? If you're creative enough, you can take the most simple and basic effect and make something really cool out of it. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope it was easy enough to follow along, and if you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like and subscribing to my channel, and I will see you guys in the next one.